Welcome to another episode of Software Explorations, Concepts and Overviews, hosted by yours truly, Tech Coach Ralph, where we are engineered to win. In today's episode, we are going to continue with our breakdown of the GRC framework of governance, risk management, and compliance. Today, we're going to be digging deeper in the actual framework that encompasses GRC. So let's not waste any time. Let's just jump right into it where we pick up where we left off last time and break that down. So let's dive deeper. Let's dig deeper into the GRC framework. Once again, GRC stands for governance, risk management, and compliance. And we're going to be going over what the framework that makes it up. So our agenda, we're going to define what GRC framework is, the components of the GRC framework, the benefits of the GRC framework, as well as some challenges that come with the GRC framework. All right, so what in the world is a GRC framework anyways? Because we've spoken about governance, we've spoken about risk management, we've spoken about compliance. But how do they work together in a framework? That's what we're going to find out. So we're looking here at a little image that's put together talking about in the GRC, like GRC program elements critical to success, right? We have the strategy and everything that's listed under strategy. We have the policies and standards and compliance, everything that's listed under that. We have the risk management aspect. We have the controls aspect. We have the technologies that make up the GRC framework. We have the incidents and how to handle those, and we have the governance of them. So all of these things that work together to build that framework, right? And I would definitely spend some time looking at this graphic so we can see how all things fall into place and how we're supposed to analyze the risk, how we control certain things, how we use the different technologies that go around this, and all the strategies, because those strategies is what's going to shape our procedures, shape our risk management, shape our controls, shape our technologies, the governance, the incidents. All of that is going to be based off the strategy, and that's what we're going to be going into today to get a better understanding of what makes up this framework. So the GRC framework is a structured methodology or a set of processes, practices, and tools that organizations implement to effectively manage and align governance, risk management, and compliance activities with strategic objectives, business priorities, and regulatory requirements. It provides a holistic view of how the organization governs itself, manages the risk, and ensures compliance with relevant laws, regulations, industry standards, and internal policies. So to make it simple, right? We've gone over the past 3 weeks. We had software explorations on governance. We had one on risk management. We had one on compliance, and just the framework just takes it and puts all three together so that we can have a nice ecosystem of how we're going to be working to approach things. So what are the components of the GRC framework? So let's dig into that. So there's governance. There's the board of directors. There's the policies, procedures, and standards. There's the governance committee, right? So that falls under governance. Then there's risk management, where there's the identification, the assessment and analysis, the monitoring and reporting, the treatment, and the mitigation. So, and this is the stuff that we spoke about in the past few weeks. So we're just listed it under it because that is part of the GRC framework. And then we have compliance, where there's regulatory management, there's the policy management, there's the monitoring and auditing, training and awareness. We just went over that last week. Now we're going to get to the integration and the alignment, and that's what we're going to be focusing on this episode, right? Integration and alignment, and it contains the strategic alignment, the process, the technology, and the stakeholder engagement. All right, so we're going to be jumping into that. So, strategic alignment. What is that? So, aligning governance, risk management, and compliance activities with the organization's strategic objective, mission, vision, and values. All right, so how to get everybody on the same page for governance, risk management, and compliance, right? So, and how do we do that? There's process integration, integrating governance, risk management, and compliance processes, practices, and tools to streamline the operation, improve efficiency, and reduce duplication of efforts. So making it efficient. How are we going to get our GRC processes to be efficient? The things that we do, we have to get it efficient because it's still a business at the end of the day, and we need to make it cost efficient and make it like we don't want to waste people's time. Integration. Okay, so the technology integration. So leveraging technology solutions such as GRC software platforms to automate and facilitate governance, risk, and compliance activities, enhance data visibility, and support decision making. All right. Stakeholder engagement, engaging stakeholders, including executive management, board members, employees, customers, partners, regulators, and auditors to collaborate on GRC initiatives, share information, and address concerns. Now, let's jump into the benefits of the framework because we've covered a lot of this already. And now it's like we're putting it all together to get a better, more comprehensive understanding. So, a holistic approach is a benefit to the GRC framework. It provides a holistic approach to managing governance, risk, and compliance activities within an organization. It integrates these three components, ensuring that they are aligned with each other and with the organization's strategic objectives. So, we need to know what's the goal of the organization. And then we need to say, all right, how can we have a bird's eye view, right, of how we're going to approach this so that we can be successful and lucrative in implementing our cybersecurity processes. Another benefit is enhanced risk management. So the GRC framework enables organizations to identify, assess, prioritize, and mitigate risk effectively. By integrating risk management practices into governance and compliance activities, organizations can proactively, the keyword proactively, manage risk and minimize their potential impact on operations and objectives. Because a lot of times we like when we try to do it after the fact, it just leads to a total mess. So that's why we want to do this proactively, managing the risk, making the right decisions, we minimize that impact. Because if we don't do this, it can be very drastic on our organizations. Our reputations get messed up, and then we are left looking for a new place. So efficiency and effectiveness. The GRC framework streamlines processes, reduces duplication of efforts, and optimizes the resource allocation. It provides a centralized platform for managing governance, risk, and compliance activities, enhancing efficiency and effectiveness in achieving organizational goals. Right? That speaks for itself. So transparency and accountability. The GRC framework promotes transparency and accountability by establishing clear roles, responsibilities, and decision-making processes. It provides visibility into governance structures, risk assessments, compliance activities, and performance metrics, enhancing accountability at all levels of the organization. And basically, pretty much, it's providing metrics. It's giving so we can see everything. And a lot of times when you don't know what's going on, then there's no accountability. So it just puts everybody on level playing fields, and that way we can know who does what, who's responsible for what, and how we can streamline the decision-making process. So there's also regulatory compliance. That's a part of this. So the GRC framework helps organizations ensure compliance with relevant laws, regulations, and industry standards, and contractual obligations. All of these things fall under the regulatory standards. By centralizing compliance management activities and automating compliance processes, organizations can reduce the risk of non-compliance penalties and reputational damage. When I was working for a pharmaceutical company in the healthcare industry, we had to go through many different we had tools that would help manage our compliance efforts with FDA regulations and things like that. So and there are companies that build whole ecosystems that helps you streamline the process and manage the process because everything needs to be documented. So risk mitigation and resilience. By integrating risk management practices into governance and compliance activities, the GRC framework helps organizations mitigate risk and build resilience. It enables organizations to anticipate and respond to and recover from adverse events, minimizing their impact on operations and objectives. And all this stuff is about being prepared, right? The worst thing that can happen to you is you go into battle unprepared, and now you're affected and you're down. And sometimes organizations cannot recover from it. So cost savings, very important. The GRC framework helps organizations identify inefficiencies, reduce redundancies, and optimize resource allocation, resulting in cost savings. By streamlining governance, risk, and compliance activities, organizations can minimize operational costs and maximize returns on investment. And that has to be front of mind. We need to keep our organizations safe, but we also can't have the costs explode. Stakeholder confidence. The GRC framework enhances stakeholder confidence by demonstrating a commitment to effective governance, risk management, and compliance. It provides assurance to stakeholders, including customers, investors, and employees, regulators, and partners that the organization is managing its affairs responsibly and ethically. And how about a competitive advantage? We all want a competitive advantage, right? So organizations that efficiently implement the GRC framework gain a competitive advantage by mitigating risks, ensuring compliance, and enhancing operational efficiency. They are better positioned to adapt to changing market conditions, seize opportunities, and achieve sustainable growth and success. That sounds like a competitive advantage to me. If you are, if you know, forward thinking, how to prevent stuff instead of how to react to things after the fact. So now, as there's always benefits to something, there's always going to be challenges, right? So what are the challenges to the GRC framework? And let's jump into that. So complexity and integration. Integrating governance, risk management, and compliance activities into a cohesive framework can be complex, especially for large organizations with diverse operations and regulatory requirements. Competing interests. Ensuring alignment and integration across different departments, processes, and systems require a careful planning and coordination. Lack of standardization, right, which is a big problem because a lot of people, they don't like structure, they don't like standards. So inconsistencies in governance structures, risk management methodologies, and compliance processes can hinder the effectiveness of the GRC framework. Lack of standardized practices and terminology may lead to confusion, duplication of efforts, and inefficiencies in managing governance, risk, and compliance activities. That speaks for itself. Resource constraints. Implementing and maintaining the GRC framework requires dedicated resources, including personnel, budget, and technology. So pretty much, cybersecurity is not cheap, all right? Small and medium-sized organizations may lack the necessary resources to invest in GRC initiatives, leading to challenges in achieving full compliance and risk management capabilities. And that's where you see a lot of people, like they might have duplicate roles, duplicate responsibilities. You'll see like the IT person who is like setting up the network, who might be responsible for getting computers set up. They also find themselves handling a lot of the cybersecurity stuff, the GRC stuff, which, that's spreading somebody too thin, and that's how you're going to miss stuff and end up in trouble. Technology limitations. While GRC software solutions can automate and streamline governance, risk, and compliance activities, organizations may face challenges in selecting, implementing, and integrating suitable technology platforms. Compatibility issues, data silos, and customization requirements can complicate the deployment of GRC software solutions. And you need somebody to be able to manage it, to be able to integrate it, and then it's not cheap either. So working around these technology limitations, it is a hard job, and that's why a lot of people you got to get experts in this, and that's why these cybersecurity people, they can get paid the big bucks if they're in the right area of cybersecurity. Change management. Implementing the GRC framework often requires significant organizational change, including changes to process, roles, and behaviors. I would also say changing of mindset, which could be related to behavior, but changing the mindset, because here we go. Resistance to change, lack of buy-in from stakeholders, and cultural barriers may impede the adoption and acceptance of the GRC framework within the organization. Hopefully that they watched this video and the past videos so you can see the importance of GRC. And they should also be watching the bug bite, because so many things have happened, so many hacks and vulnerabilities and things like that, which if people had a more cybersecurity minded, more GRC focus, then we could prevent a lot of these terrible things that happen online. So data quality and availability. Effective governance, risk management, and compliance activities depend on accurate, timely, and reliable data. However, organizations may struggle with data quality issues, data silos, and fragmented data sources, making it challenging to assess risk, monitor compliance, and make informed decisions. Everything is about data nowadays. Everything is about data. I was talking to somebody the other day, and even in the NBA, right? Back in the days, if somebody was to stop and take a 3-pointer on a fast break layup, their coach would chew them out. But now, if that same person was to go for the layup instead of taking the 3, their coach might chew them out because the data says otherwise. All right. So having access to the right data can make a world of difference. Now, regulatory complexity and change. Keeping pace with evolving regulatory requirements, and that's when the government and their agencies are just willy-nilly just changing the policies here and there, and now you have to keep up with it and not fall behind, right? So there's industry standards, and best practices can be challenging. Regulatory complexity, regulatory overlaps, and frequent changes in regulations require organizations to maintain vigilance, adaptability, and agility in managing compliance obligations. So there has to be someone who is always keeping up with what's changing and like the time frame that it needs to be done, and how do we make the necessary adjustments so we can keep our company in compliance. And the earlier you get to compliance, to me, that's marketable, right? Now, globalization and geopolitical risk. Organizations operating in multiple jurisdictions face additional challenges related to globalization, geopolitical risk, and cross-border regulatory compliance. Differences in legal systems, cultural norms, and geopolitical tensions may complicate compliance efforts in an increased regulatory scrutiny. And like we hear about it, like when you have Google and Apple in Europe and China and stuff like that, they need to comply with the countries that they're in. Even here in the States, you can like. Have you ever seen this? Right, you are buying a product online, and in one state that the product is coming from, there's no tax charge, but you're buying a product in California maybe, and now you have to pay taxes. Like it's so weird, but those globalization efforts, even within our own country, that like from state to state, you have to comply differently. So that is a very big challenge to the whole GRC process. Now we also have cybersecurity threats, including data breaches, ransomware attacks, and insider threats pose significant risks to organizations' governance, risk management, and compliance efforts. Ensuring the security and integrity of sensitive data and systems is essential for maintaining regulatory compliance and mitigating cyber risks. Then we also have vendor and supply chain risks, which we definitely saw that during the pandemic. Organizations may face challenges in managing governance, risk, and compliance across their vendor and supply chain ecosystem. Dependence on third-party vendors, suppliers, and business partners introduce additional risks related to data privacy, cybersecurity, and regulatory compliance. And how many times on the Bug Bite have we seen where it wasn't that the actual company was breached, but it was one of their third parties that were breached, and then they got access to the data from that company? Like, so many different things can happen. So as you branch out and as you work with additional vendors, you take on the risk that those vendors bring as well. So if they have a leak, that leak might also affect you. So in conclusion, for the GRC framework, we spoke about what the actual definition of the GRC framework is. We went through the components of the GRC framework as well as the benefits and the challenges of the GRC framework. So let me know, what? Let me know what you thought. What are your thoughts? Did I miss anything on this video, on this presentation, going through the GRC framework? I am curious to know, do you have any questions? Is there anything that you think I missed that you'd want me to touch on? Anything you disagree with? Anything that you agree? Let me know. All right, so let's go back to full screen before we wrap this up. That's our presentation on the GRC framework. Let me know your thoughts about it. Let me know what you think. Did you enjoy this video? Did you find it not that cool? Whatever, let me know. Leave me a comment in the chat, or leave me a comment in the comments. And I'll make sure to respond to you. I'll get back to you, and we can go from there. If you have a question, feel free to let me know. If you have any video ideas, topics you'd like me to cover, whether it's a live stream or whether it's a pre-recorded content, let me know and I will get that taken care of for you. I love to investigate. I love to research, and I love to present the information to you I enjoy it and I have tons of fun with you, right? But on the way out, do me a big favor. If you haven't done so yet, do me a huge favor. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button so you can know every single time that we go live and drop new content. And if you are in need of additional information, whether it's QA, software engineering, or you're in need of coaching, go over to www.techcoachraff.dev and you can sign up for whatever it is that you need, and we can work together and I can help you get to that next step. All right. But until next time, thank you for tuning in. This has been another episode of Software Explorations, Concepts and Overviews, hosted by yours truly, Tech Coach Ralph, where we are engineered to win. And on that note, this is Tech Coach Ralph, and we are out.
Information shared in this video and you want more, be sure to hit the subscribe button to Tech Coach Ralph to be notified for new videos.